It's always great to have you here, beautiful people. Today I share with you how I made my Ghanaian groundnut soup. My name is Sianoki. Stay tuned. So with me here is my groundnut paste. I make my own groundnut paste. I'll leave the links to how I make them at home or the commercial meal in my description box. So I'll be taking part of it and mixing this, but then when the groundnut sits for a while it starts becoming hard, so to make things easy I just decided to blend it, and this will save you a lot of time. So once I pour this out of my blender, I'm just going to give it a good rinse, and I'll be stirring this from time to time. I am going to cook this down until I see oil forming on top of it. And I did this video, the day I went to the market. I made a vlog about how to buy from our local market. So I got this fresh chicken, and I have the videos of all this, these onions. This was a way of storing an onion because I had a lot of it, and also my spice blend. So I put them over the chicken and let it thaw completely. While that is happening, I'll just be stirring my granules from time to time. As I mentioned earlier, I did this the day I went to the market. So while this is cooking down, I'm just cutting some pineapple for some juice, and then I'll use the peel for Sobolo. I have all the videos of that in my description box. So this is just to give you a feel of what happens most of the time, what I don't normally show. While I'm doing something, I'm probably doing another thing at the same time. So this is going to save me some time. So by the time this is cooked, I'll be done cutting my pineapples to blend for the juice. Now, there are two things that I think contributes to the color of granite soup, the type of granite you use. And mostly I go get the already roasted granite that's supposed to be eaten, and then I take it to the mill to get it into paste. So I use the white type of granite for my granite paste. If you use usually what they use for the commercial granite paste that we buy on the market is the red one, and that has a different color. So in case my soup is not as vibrant as your regular granite soup, this is one reason. There's another reason, and then we will get to know as time goes on. So once the granite starts to splatter, I'll cover it and lower the heat till oil forms on top. Of course, during that time I was squeezing my orange for the juice. So as you can see now, oil had formed nicely on top of it, and then we are good to go. So while that was happening, my onions and then my basil spice blend had thawed completely. The basil had some ginger, some pepper, and some garlic. The onion is just onions, and I'm adding some spices and then some salt to this. You want this to be the saltiest part of your soup. I'll also leave the link to the spices in my description box. Is just a collection of local spices that I roasted and I blended into powder. Okay, so while that was happening too, of course, the first day we are having some fufu with this, and water was boiling. I took this cassava straight out of the freezer. It is frozen. I've added that to that, and then I'm adding my plantain. So this day was like life made easy in a way, because the way I used to rather store my food has made life easy, because I was storing the onions, I was storing the basil, I was storing the cassava, but this day I just take them out and use. I didn't have to do a lot of cutting and blending and all that. Yeah. So after stirring this nicely, for some time, I'm going to add my fresh tomatoes today. Yes, I'll be using fresh tomatoes today. And then I'll just cover this and let it cook. Yeah, I just noticed I had some red bell pepper lying there. I decided to throw that in as well. So after this steams for some time, I'm just going to take all of them out, because when you stir this with the tomatoes, definitely you're going to crush those tomatoes in the pan. So I'm just taking them out before I give this a final stir. At this point, see the stock around this had thickened nicely, and there was this egg from the chicken. Yeah, there's some chicken making noise in the background here. It's not mine, no, it's for my neighbor. Those fowls would just not let me be great. So I took that egg out because I didn't want it to sort of break into pieces. But you know what I'm gonna do? You see that later. So at this time I blended my tomatoes and my red bell pepper, and then I am adding it to this. I'm giving it a good stir. Please note that the basil spice blend had some pepper in there, and that was okay for my family, so I wasn't adding any more peppers. Oh yeah, after giving this a stir, you know what I do? What you normally not see. Yeah, you see the egg I took out. Yeah, I've added some of the sauce to it. It is so good. So at this point, I'm just going to pour the cooked peanut butter paste or groundnuts that I, yeah. And then I was boiling some water in my kettle, so I'll be adding that to it, just to keep the cooking process going, yeah. Time, so give this a nice stir, and then at this point, see, our soup is done because everything has been cooked down, and that is it. I'm just going to throw in some pepper. Normally if I had some garden eggs and okra, I add that to it, but guess what, I forgot to purchase that from the market. So I throw in some green pepper and some basil, and then I'll let this simmer. So that is one way I make my groundnut soup. I have a different way where I don't cook down the peanut butter. I shared that video about a year ago. But another reason why the color is like this is because I did not use tomato paste. Okay, so in case you're wondering, we also have this with some ripe plantain or gari, my favorite. With groundnut soup. Stop. Thank you so much for watching, beautiful people.